Now listen, I'm not going to explain Five Nights at Freddy's to you. I'm not going to explain Five Nights at Freddy's fan games to you. But what I will do in this video is tell you about the evolution of a fan game called the Joy of Creation. Released by Nixon on November 30th, 2015 to GameJolt, the Joy of Creation was released with one mode, Survival. Survival mode had no end and was essentially a test to see how long you could last before getting punched in the face. In FNAF fashion, there are the typical 4 animatronics to deal with, but this time instead of being withered or toy versions, these beings are ignited. You play as Scott Cawthon, who is sitting down listening to his buddy's phone calls in an office chair that can only swivel in one direction. The character models are, of course, very well done and extremely creepy, even for a demo marking the beginning of the series. However, the gameplay loop is extremely simple. You use the flashlight when the environment changes to ward off the monsters. The GameJolt page for this game no longer exists, so I had to find the archive page on the Joy of Creation wiki. I think it's cool that I finally got to play it after seeing people like Markiplier and 8-Bit Ryan play it years ago. However, I wouldn't play it again. And Nixon must have felt similar as he cancelled the project and moved on. But this series isn't over by a long shot. Nixon would turn the original demo for this game into a new game called The Joy of Creation Reborn. Released on April 17th, 2016 and then May 15th, 2016, Reborn took a bunch of assets from the original, added new ones, made the gameplay more interesting and the characters more scary. This is also when the series began being more mainstream in the fan game space. Reborn has 4 different modes, one for each animatronic, all of which are free roam instead of complacent, and they each have objectives this time instead of just surviving. We'll go over each of them one by one. Ignited Freddy is the most simple level, but that doesn't mean it's not scary. We must collect 5 objects within 1 minute. Objects that can be collected can be seen through the weak light that is emitted by them. Unfortunately though, Freddy roams the halls with us, and unlike the official games, he doesn't laugh to let us know he's moving, he laughs because he likes to play with his food. You will know when he moves. Freddy's footsteps echo through the empty halls, announcing he is there even if he doesn't know where you are. He's not that fast, and you can lose him if you play your cards right, but hearing those heavy, mechanical footsteps behind you as you attempt to find the last object and finish the level is absolutely diabolical. The goal for Ignited Bonnie is the same for that of Freddy. Instead of the first floor though, where we still get glimpses of the outside world, all we have down here is artificial light adding to the terror of the environment, made worse by the loud, even faster footsteps made by the purple bunny. Bonnie is so fast in this area that you cannot outrun him if you run straight. He will catch up to you every single time. Instead, you have to lead him around corners and edges and hope that he loses you. This level isn't harder than Freddy's per se, but it is scarier. Ignited Chica probably has the most unique level in the game for a few different reasons. Needing to collect 10 drawings within 5 minutes with a huge map? Check. Being in a forest collecting the drawings like Slenderman? Check. Chica not behaving dissimilarly to a weeping angel? Double check. All checks point towards this level being a fun way to curve the formula of the game and bring a unique view on it. Chica must be looked at if you hear her, but not for too long, otherwise she gets shy and well, you know the rest. Chica isn't loud like the other 2 animatronics so far. She's skittery, doesn't like to be seen. It's almost more scary because you don't know where she is until you can hear her 2 meters away from you, waiting for you to mess up. So the animatronic mechanic part of it, great. The huge map and many collectibles, I dislike it. It becomes tedious. You spend less time around Chica and more about wandering the empty forest, hoping that you find enough pages to stop playing the level. It took me nearly an hour and a half. Being greeted by Foxy, walking slowly, jaw twitching, just waiting for you to move, is the first sign that this is the most well-engineered level in the game. We're back to a decent-sized map with a reasonable amount of objects and time to collect them, and an ignited animatronic with the most terrifying design and speed in the game that can be stopped if you know what you're doing, and shine the light on him when his eyes glow white. Because if his eyes aren't white, it's over. Once you complete all 4 modes, an extra tab will open up. It's pretty simple. Look at the character models, then wander the dark, gross halls until a jump scare happens with the words "come back later." Then the game crashes. Guess we'll do that. But for now, let's look at the next game. Released on October 31st, 2016, Halloween Edition is kind of like a refined version of Reborn. It has items to collect, more detailed objectives, a cool mechanic involving audio cues, and Ignited Springtrap who just looks dope as hell. It also has a set ending which isn't just leaving to the title screen after completing all objectives. In this game, you play as an unspecified character talking to unspecified character number 2. We'll call them Unk 1 and Unk 2. Unk 1 winds up at the FNAF 3 pizzeria and Unk 2 calls him. He tells him to break the pipes to release flammable gas using a hammer, light the place, and get the hell out of there. This ends up being really hard because not only is Springtrap really fast, but you can now run out of breath. So you must run to get out of sight, hide, hopefully play an audio cue to another area of the map, and pray he doesn't find you. The empty halls with the gas spewing out of the pipes and the echoes of footsteps in the distance made me uneasy the entire time. And finishing it made me glad because I know I don't have to get lucky trying to find the lighter again. Spoiler alert, everything burns! Released on July 18th, 2017, the Joy of Creation story mode took everything from the series so far and made it downright amazing. Not only did it add, well, a story to the game, but all 5 levels are completely unique and fun to play. We play as Scott Cawthon and his family trying to survive the night after a guy named Michael shows up at their house, bringing a bunch of animatronics and weird time-space fluctuations with him. Also narrated by his in-game son, Nick. In the first level, quick shout out to Bioplane for playing this level with me, go check out his stuff. We play as Nick in the bedroom. There are 4-ish mechanics here to be aware of that Michael tells us about. Freddy approaches your blinds, close them when he's out your window until he leaves. Bonnie comes through the door and will knock to let you know he's coming. Shut off the light and sit down to make him go away. Chica is in the closet. When it opens, turn off the light. Foxy is under the bed. When his hook appears on the star of the crib, sit down, look up, and close your eyes. So that's the 4, but the reason I say 4-ish is because of your lamp and sanity meter. If you spend too much time looking at the animatronics or having the lamp off, you start to go crazy. Having the player be a kid during the first mission is a great way to get them scared. Being and seeing this poor kid shaking, just seeing these monstrosities try to kill him, even if it's easy to deal with, is terrifying. The game also has an awesome flash of static whenever you complete a level. The reason it's so good is because it feels like it doesn't guarantee safety. In the FNAF games, you just get the ding dong, which instantly lets you know you're safe. But here, that last couple seconds when you're hoping you can just make your way out of the level is stressful in the best way. The living room stone begins with Scott and his wife being worried about this stranger being and sleeping in their house, which, fair enough bro, I definitely would have kicked him out. But Scott leaves, so we have to fend for ourselves with help from Michael against the animatronics with a different set of rules. Michael also messes up pretty bad.
Wait a second. How do you know my husband's name? I was there when he found you, Michael. He never said his name. How do you know? Michael?
Freddy and Foxy run duos on the 2 different side entrances of the room. You can third party them and mess up their night by pausing them accordingly and throwing off their synchronization, allowing you to hide from their gaze one at a time. Bonnie approaches from behind and holy shit, this house is huge. Anyway, he can be observed through the keyhole of the door, but this really isn't necessary most of the time because whenever he moves, he makes noise, and after 4 movements he pops out and you have to avoid his gaze. I only used the keyhole if I lost track during the chaos. Lastly, the easiest one to deal with, Chica. If you hear growling, get up and stand still. Each individual rule is easy to follow, but it becomes chaotic and unrelenting easily. And then this happens. For this and the rest of the levels, the last hour makes the area red with messages and creepy images. It's a signal for the player, but also judgment from the mysterious force causing all this. Almost as if to cause insanity to force the person trying so hard to survive to give up. Eyes begin popping out of the walls. It becomes hard to look around until you see that static and are finally free from the nightmare. Unfortunately though, Scott doesn't have that much luck. The rest of these levels are his problem. He has no help, scared, alone, not knowing if his family is okay, but he keeps fighting regardless. The office is so cool, and not just because it's the easiest level in the game and I could chill out for a bit, but also because of the loop. You see, if you make it to 6 AM without flashing Freddy 11 times, you fail. This shows how the animatronics are evolving. They don't just give up at 6, they must be warded off. So that's Freddy, but Foxy must be looked at through the cameras, and he can be on multiple screens at the same time. Bonnie must not be looked at or he breaks the camera he's on, lowering your chance of survival significantly. And Chica will crawl through the wall trying to get you. She can only be stopped if you get rid of the 3 cupcakes that spawn in the room and in the hallways. This level is so satisfying. The need to actually complete an objective while the clock is running, making it an obstacle rather than an ally, is really interesting. It's not hard after you understand the general loop, but it is definitely my favorite of the levels so far, and hearing Scott's own voice messages reminding him how to deal with these guys because Michael's not helping is really cool to see. Once again though, his torment doesn't end with one challenge. The basement is definitely the most unique level in the game. Rather than a clock going to 6 AM and fending off the animatronics, Scott wakes up after being knocked out and has to get through 6 altered versions of his own basement with threats around every corner. This is also one of the scariest levels for a multitude of reasons, but it starts in the first room. The animatronics are speaking in the only way they know how. It's not scary in itself, but it once again shows how much they've evolved since being in Scott's stories. For number 6, all you have to do is yank on the door. You'll hear a creepy laugh, but then this happens. The remains of a creation, an endoskeleton looking at the cameras that will attack if you get too close. This has always been unnerving to me because it's almost as if it doesn't even see you, it just senses you around. That concept makes it so just making noise around it is stressful. Even if you are aware, you cannot be killed. For number 5, you must gather 4 items representing the 4 main characters and put them in the fire. Listen closely, be observant, and be careful, or you'll wind up being somewhere you don't want to. The creations start to get irritable here. They appear if you pick up items they're attached to. Monsters will start hunting you down if you spend too long here, but Scott listens to them anyway. Number 4 involves thinking. Ugh. Throw that away though, because once you complete the first code, a burned one appears. Unlike the other endos which kill you if you get too close, these guys act as weeping angels, which, if you know me, I think every weeping angel type enemy is both incredibly scary and incredibly cool. If you play this smart, you can shut the door and keep the endo on the other side, allowing you to figure out the other code in peace. But this is not a good sign of what's to come. So we go to the bathroom and come out, expecting the same area, but then... No running, no external goal, just walk and don't look behind you. All the ambient lights turn red and all the endos are here to jump us, but we press on anyway because we have no choice. Right after escaping the basement, Scott wakes up for one last push in the attic. Michael says the animatronics can't keep themselves together anymore and they'll make their way to the attic from the basement. They have now taken the form of creation. Scott manages to free one hand before the absolute onslaught that we are about to go through. There is so much crap in this level, so jot this down. The lever to your right is your key to victory. It allows you to halt creation's progress, but more importantly, flash Golden Freddy. There is no time here. You must flash Golden Freddy 12 times for the level to end or die trying, but it has a cooldown. The lever to your left allows you to switch between camera systems to the doors. There are two different types of enemies that can come through the doors. Running enemies, which will very clearly let you know when they are coming, as well as silent enemies which can only be seen on the cameras. There is no power limit, so you are able to close doors as much as you want, but you can only close one door at a time. Golden Freddy is a bitch and likes to play hide and seek, so if you cannot see him on the cameras, flash creation. You need to make use of the lever as much as possible. You get all that? It might not sound that bad, it might sound worse, but put all this together and you have a hard but fair fight against these creatures. And that last Golden Freddy flash when the house is burning and you've lost track of how many times you've flashed in? Awesome. But what's not is the fact that Scott begs for his family to be safe and his body gets taken over like an Enid bodysuit. So this is a great game. It by no means needed major improvements or needed to be redone in any way. But I am so glad it did. Released on August 2nd, 2024, the Joy of Creation remake with the same title as the original is part of the Fazbear Fanverse initiative, basically meaning it's partially funded by Scott Cawthon. Currently, the game only has a demo of the office level, but oh my god. Look at flashing Freddy in the story mode. And look at him now. Holy shit. Let me run you through the differences in story mode's office and this game's office. Same concept to deal with all animatronics, but execution is very different. For starters, now we have fuses that can be used at the maintenance panel to restore power to the cameras, the flashlight, and the main power. If any of these are about to go out, especially the main power, you need to fix that ASAP. Fuses can be found in the drawers and cabinets of the room and give a reason to roam apart from dealing with Chica. Freddy still must be flashed to win the night, but now it's 12 times instead of 11, and you must flash him in the specific spot on the camera he is in, and time doesn't progress normally. Instead, flashing Freddy makes an hour go by, and I like this a lot more. Foxy still must be looked at through the cameras, but while he no longer appears on multiple cameras, you must look him in the eyes multiple times until he goes away. Bonnie is interesting as well. While he does appear more often than he did in story mode, making it easier to accidentally look at him, the fuses for the cameras can be replaced so you don't just lose a camera for the rest of the night. Chica is much more annoying to deal with too. You still need to find her cupcakes, which can be in many more spots now, but because the flashlight can only be used so many times, there is the chance that you can run out of battery, making the cupcakes back off. These characters only get more aggressive during the night too. Foxy starts by needing to be looked at 3 times and it progresses to 7, and Chica starts with 3 cupcakes and it progresses to 5. There will be moments playing this demo where you think there is no possible way you can win this run. This is so hard, these guys are too aggressive, but then you work your way through and somehow live to fight another hour. This game is the perfect difficulty. It is very hard, especially at first, but it is also very fair, albeit stressful. And that is the joy of creation. Seeing this series evolve over time has been so cool, and I cannot wait for the full game's release, even though it is unannounced as of making this script. Thank you all so much for watching, and in case I don't see ya, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.